Hello, everyone. This is the most magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm back at it with another character review. And this character review will be on Gold Mythic Lukas. And before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. I'm doing good and I'm staying safe for the most part. And I just took a small sneak peek of this character's kit, and there are some things in here that are, that I like, and some things that I think if people were to leave the game, I wouldn't be shocked, but we'll get into it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump into this character review, shall we? Lukas, Day 1. His trait is Alert. His role is a medic. And his allegiance is a member of Day 1. Now let's take a look at his stats. His attack stat is 9,814. His defense is 19,051. And his HP is 28,866. So let's take a look at his Adrenaline Rush. Flare Blast. The recharge rate is 55 AP. So that's faster than most gold mythics. Deal 25% of this character's current HP as burn damage for 4 turns to a line of enemies. Heal this fighter by 20% of their max HP for each medic role teammate. So, man, that is going to be a lot of burn damage. He will be dealing 25% of his current HP as burn damage for 4 turns. That, depending on how high you can get that HP, that's going to be really nice numbers, especially for it being for 4 turns. Although, one way they could have made that even better, instead of just to a line, maybe that burn could have been spread around to 3 or 4 enemies. That would have been really nice. But you know what? It is what it is, and that 25% for 4 turns, that's still going to do some nice damage overall, for sure. Plus, he's going to be healing by 20% of his max HP for each medic role teammate. Now, depending, I know there are really good medic tunes out there, and honestly, he's, you can surround him with some very nice medics and healers, and that's going to be really good for him, honestly. I especially love that first part of the Adrenaline Rush. The 25% damage, the burn damage that is for 4 turns, that's going to be really nice. And again, depending on how high you can get that HP, that potentially could take out a whole line. But yeah, a really decent Adrenaline Rush to start. Let's take a look at his signature move. Solemn Shot. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but whatever. We're going to move on. The initial cooldown is turn 1. 2 turns for the cooldown, and number of uses unlimited. This fighter gets 100% bonus HP if the target has burn. Deal 5% of this fighter's max HP as bleed damage to one other enemy for 1 turn. Deal 10% of this fighter's max HP as damage to the target. Okay, so obviously by the first part of it, if you've been able to if you have been able to get burn damage on a certain enemy, if a certain target has burn, he's immediately going to get that bonus HP, and that's going to be really nice depending on how much HP that you can get on Lukas. And that's going to be really, in certain situations, that's going to be really good, and that's going to be really frustrating to come up against. Plus, he's going to be dealing 5% of his max HP as bleed damage, but it's only going to be for one turn. I don't know how I feel about that, only for it to be for one turn only. I mean, they could have maybe made it for at least 2 turns if they wanted to make it really deadly, but I guess that is setting up for the adrenaline rush to add the burn if you can somehow, if you have a command on the team and you can get Lukas you can get his adrenaline rush a turn, off a turn earlier with that command. So I guess the bleed and burn, that's going to be really nice together. But if you don't have a command, it's kind of iffy on the one turn of 5% bleed. But if you have a command and you can get his adrenaline rush a turn earlier, that'll be really good. That'll be really good. But the burn damage, I believe, is the main part of his kit. I mean, it's not the absolute main part, but it plays a bigger part of his kit than the bleed does so far. So, as he will be dealing 25% burn damage versus only 5% bleed damage only for one turn. And then he'll deal 10% of this fighter, of his max HP, as damage to the target, and that could potentially be better than the bleed damage, honestly. So we'll have to see, but so far I'm liking the adrenaline rush just a little bit better, but the signature move isn't bad, not at all. Now let's take a look at his mythic abilities. Spirit, 20% of all healing performed by this fighter, also granted as bonus HP. Not really going to spend a whole lot of time talking about this one. For every medic tune, I think Spirit is, I think it's absolutely necessary to go ahead and level up. So definitely level that one up if you can, for sure. Inspiring Rescue. When a teammate is revived, all teammates heal by 30% of their max HP. Okay, that one could be both good and bad. Like, the good part, obviously, is if a certain teammate is downed, but they're not decapped or crosshairs, and they get picked back up. And if there are other teammates that are low on HP, they'll get healed up, and that's going to be really nice. The only bad part about it, and it's not that big of a deal, the only bad part of it is if your team has full health, they're not really going to benefit. They're not really going to benefit from it, and that's the only bad thing about that. So it might be worth leveling up for sure. Resuscitation. At the start of each turn, 60% chance to revive a teammate with 50% of their max HP. Now this one is going to be. That one's going to be really good, and I think, as part of Lukas's kit, that one's going to definitely be worth leveling up for sure, because there are other parts of his kit that I think that will definitely, if you don't decap these certain tunes, he's going to be reviving left and right, potentially, you know what I mean? So he could be a handful for sure, but resuscitation, a 60% chance to revive a teammate, that's honestly better than 0. That's definitely very good and might be worth leveling up for sure. Rotten Bandages. When a teammate is revived, a random enemy gets 200% infection for two turns. Excuse me. Wow. Really? Really, Scopely? Oh my god. Let's see. This isn't a typo, right? When a teammate gets revived, a random enemy gets 200% infection. I almost thought that said 20% infection. Wow, really, Scopely? People that dish out 100% infection, that's already tough to deal with, but you're going to add 100% on top of that to make it 200? Why don't you make it 1,000% infection? You might as well. That's where it's going. Like, that one is obviously going to be really good if you're in control of that, but that's obviously going to be a pain if you come up against that, and you can pretty much kiss your behind goodbye if that gets on a certain tune that you really like to use, right? So that's going to be both good and bad. Bad if you come up against it, and good if you're controlling it. So yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. If they want people to quit their game, they're doing a good job coming out with this tune. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to the leader skill. All teammates get 40% HP. All incoming trait advantage damage against all teammates has the multiplier reduced by 50%. So all teammates get 40% HP. That's pretty decent, you know. Obviously there's a certain tune that has like 70% HP, but that's only one particular tune. But most of these most of these tunes have like the 40% HP, so that's pretty decent. Now, the all-coming trait advantage damage against all teammates has the multiplier reduced by 50%. Now, that's going to be... I can definitely see where that's going to be a big issue. Excuse me for using the word big so much, but it really will be a big issue, because I believe that, if I'm thinking correctly, that has to do with crit, and that's only going to be that's going to help the Lukas teams out so much. I mean, 50% may not sound like a lot, but I think later on it's going to be a big issue. Maybe not right now, because Lukas just came out, so I don't know of anybody that's pulled for him just yet, but probably within the next couple of days or less, people will probably be pulling for Lukas, let's be honest. And man, if people are going to quit this game, I can definitely see the leader skill, and then rotten... rotten apples? No, not rotten apples, but rotten bandages. I could see the leader skill and the mythic ability rotten bandages being like some reasons why the people I could see why people would quit the game because of those two reasons. So yeah, I like the leader skill, but man, that last part about the trait advantage damage being countered, not being countered, but the trait advantage damage being cut, the multiplier being reduced by 50%, man, that's going to be really frustrating. I feel like we'll have to wait and see for sure. Let's take a look at his weapon. Lukas's flare gun and revolver. 40% HP, 40% defense, defensive reviving. When being attacked, a better chance to revive a teammate with 20% of their max HP. And also strong and tough in pair. At the start of each wave, all strong and tough enemies get impaired for 2 turns. Okay, I like the 40% HP. The 40% defense is also pretty good. But I feel like you would want to go a little bit more up on the HP because of certain parts of his kit, especially with the burn damage, the bleed damage, and then the 10% of damage on the, not the Adrenaline Rush, but the signature move. And then defense reviving. I don't think, have we ever had a weapon slot or a special weapons slot where there's been defensive reviving? I don't think there has been. That might be new. If it isn't, we just haven't seen it in a while. I'm not really sure, but that one might be new for sure, which is kind of interesting. But the revive, it's not a whole lot, but it's enough to be annoying for sure. I like the third slot. I don't know how I feel about the fourth one, though. Strong and tough impair. Impairing certain enemies is going to be good, but it's only at the start of each wave. So when it comes to raids, if you're in a raid for more than 2 turns, which you're very likely going to be more, in a raid for more than 2 turns, after that 2 turns, that fourth slot becomes pretty useless, but the potential for that fourth slot on a roadmap will be really good. So I look at it like that. It won't necessarily be good for raids or wars, but for certain difficult roadmaps, okay, there might be something there, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of indifferent on... I think I would like it probably a lot better if it was daze instead of impair. But didn't we just recently have a tune that has like daze on their weapons? Yeah. We have Omid's rifle that has daze. So I guess they didn't want to do the same thing again. So that's one way to hurt strong and tough tunes, but that doesn't stop Father's Day's Tyrese's signature move from going off in those 2 turns, which I would argue Tyrese's signature move is way better than his Adrenaline Rush. So I don't see this as a particular big problem, but for other people it might be. But the potential for strong and tough and pair for roadmaps, there's something there for sure. So I would definitely go a little up on his HP, maybe full with his defense, but other than that, I don't know if you would... Would I mess with the third slot? I don't think I would. I think I would... if you want to, you can completely level up that HP if you want to. I think that might be the way to go. And then just full with defense with his mods and, other ways for sure. I'm sorry if you hear that next to me. Coco is right next to me. She's joining me tonight, so that's what that is. But yeah, like I said, I would definitely go all in or mostly all in on the HP. And I probably would leave the weapon alone. I don't know if you could put something better on his weapon. Maybe you could have another substitute weapon that you could switch in and out, and maybe use his base weapon for future difficult roadmaps. That might be the way to go, but yeah, I think his weapon it's pretty unique that he's got a revolver and a flare. There's not really many people that use flare guns as a weapon against walkers. The only character I can think of in The Walking Dead that has used a flare gun as a weapon against walkers, I believe, was Glenn in Season 5. And, that season was so-so. And that episode, it was kind of meh. But that was probably the I would say the breakout moment of that episode. The fact that they're in the dark and, Glenn, he doesn't really have many options as a weapon, so he uses the flare gun, and it definitely works. And again, I apologize for all that ruckus right beside me. That's Coco. So yeah, I don't have much else to say on this character other than, I mean, he's got a big ass backpack, and he's just got a very simple look, and the artwork is quite interesting. Yeah, the artwork with the flare in the background, that's quite interesting. And yeah, I don't have much else to say. So yeah, I don't know if I'd be pulling for this guy or not. But I mean, me personally, I don't think I would. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I got for you guys. I don't have much to say on Lukas. I think he's going to be a big problem. And yep, that's pretty much all I got to say on Lukas. What are your thoughts on Gold Mythic Lukas? Are you planning on pulling for him? Do you want to pull for him? Do you think he's a good toon? Do you want to pull for him and you just don't have enough tokens to pull for him? And what do you think about his backpack? What do you think he's got in there? Maybe he's got a lot of flare guns. Who knows? But whatever your thoughts are on him, just let me know down in the comments. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. Or if you're new, welcome in for the first time. All of you are very awesome, and I thank you again. And don't forget to hit the bell and switch on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. I am Beak, and I'm gonna go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.